Why is this happening here in California? You will...
Everybody down!
San Andreas is a large-scale disaster film that dives into the terrifying possibility of a massive earthquake tearing through the western United States. The movie builds its story around the immense power of nature and how fragile human civilization can be when confronted with forces far beyond control. From the very beginning, the film creates a tense atmosphere, showing how a calm and beautiful landscape can hide the potential for sudden destruction beneath the surface. The story explores how a single natural disaster can change thousands of lives in just a few hours. Turning everyday routines into desperate survival situations, the film centers around Ray Gaines, a highly skilled rescue helicopter pilot who works with the Los Angeles Fire Department. Ray is known for his bravery and experience in saving people during dangerous emergencies, but his personal life is far more complicated than his professional one. His marriage is falling apart, and he struggles with the emotional pain of losing his daughter years earlier. Despite being a hero to strangers, Ray feels like he has failed his own family. And that sense of guilt quietly follows him throughout the story. Ray's relationship with his ex-wife Emma is strained but not completely broken. They still share memories of the life they once had, and there are moments that show the deep emotional connection that still exists between them. Emma is trying to move forward with her life and is involved with a wealthy and successful architect named Daniel. However, beneath the surface, there is still a sense that her connection with Ray has never truly disappeared. Meanwhile, the scientific side of the story begins with seismologist Lawrence Hayes, a passionate researcher who has dedicated his life to studying earthquakes. Hayes has spent years trying to understand the behavior of fault lines and find a way to predict earthquakes before they happen. Working with his colleague Kim Park, he begins developing a new system designed to detect seismic patterns earlier than ever before. Their work represents humanity's effort to understand and prepare for the unpredictable forces of nature during a research expedition near the Hoover Dam. Hayes and Park witness something extraordinary and horrifying. The ground begins to shake violently, and within moments a massive earthquake strikes the area. The tremor is so powerful that it causes catastrophic damage, collapsing structures and sending debris crashing down. The destruction of the dam becomes a shocking demonstration of the devastating energy stored within the Earth's crust. For Hayes, this moment confirms his worst fears. The fault system is awakening, and the disaster he has long predicted may be beginning as the seismic activity spreads. Scientists realize that the San Andreas Fault is building toward a massive rupture. The fault line, which stretches along California, has the potential to produce one of the most powerful earthquakes in modern history. The realization sends waves of concern through the scientific community. But there is little time to warn everyone before the ground begins to move again. In Los Angeles, Ray Gaines is preparing for another routine rescue mission when the first major earthquake strikes the city. Buildings shake violently, streets crack open, and panic spreads through the population. What begins as a rescue operation quickly turns into a full-scale disaster response as emergency services struggle to keep up with the chaos unfolding around them. Ray immediately shifts into action, using his helicopter to rescue people trapped on collapsing buildings and unstable structures. During this chaos, Ray learns that Emma is in San Francisco with Daniel. The earthquake damage in Los Angeles is only the beginning, and scientists predict that an even larger quake will strike further north along the fault line. Ray's focus instantly shifts from general rescue operations to one single mission: finding and protecting his family. Emma's situation becomes increasingly dangerous as the earthquakes continue. The city around her begins to crumble as powerful tremors shake skyscrapers and bridges. Daniel initially promises to help her reach safety, but as the situation worsens, his true character begins to show. When survival becomes uncertain, he abandons Emma and her daughter Blake, revealing a selfishness that contrasts sharply with Ray's determination to risk everything. For the people he loves, Blake Gaines becomes one of the central figures in the survival story unfolding in San Francisco. Although she is young, she proves to be resourceful and courageous in the face of disaster. When the earthquake traps her in a damaged building, she finds help from two brothers named Ben and Ollie. The three form an unlikely team as they navigate through the collapsing city. Searching for a path to safety, the film constantly shifts between Ray's dangerous journey across California and Blake's struggle to survive in the ruins of San Francisco. Ray manages to reach Emma in Los Angeles using his rescue helicopter, pulling her from the top of a collapsing skyscraper just seconds before it falls. Their reunion is emotional but brief because the true scale of the disaster is still unfolding. The two realize that Blake is trapped hundreds of miles away in the path of the most powerful earthquake yet to come, determined to reach their daughter. Ray and Emma begin a desperate journey across the state. Their path is filled with obstacles as highways collapse, cities burn, and aftershocks continue to shake the ground. They abandon the helicopter when fuel runs out and switch to a small plane, flying through violent turbulence caused by the shifting atmosphere and debris in the air. Every step of their journey is filled with danger, emphasizing the massive scale of the disaster affecting the entire region. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, the earthquake finally strikes with catastrophic force. The shaking is unlike anything the city has ever experienced. Buildings crumble, roads split apart, and the famous skyline is transformed into a landscape of destruction. The collapse of massive structures sends clouds of dust across the streets while terrified. Citizens search for shelter and escape routes. Blake, Ben, and Ollie find themselves trapped in a parking structure as the earthquake tears through the city. The building begins to collapse around them, forcing them to climb and crawl through narrow passages to escape. Their teamwork becomes crucial for survival, as each of them contributes courage and quick thinking in moments where panic could easily take over. The disaster intensifies when the earthquake triggers a massive tsunami that begins moving toward the coast. The enormous wave crashes into San Francisco with unstoppable power, flooding streets and sweeping away buildings and vehicles. The sequence is one of the most visually dramatic moments in the film, showing the terrifying chain reaction that can occur when natural disasters collide. Ray and Emma finally arrive in San Francisco just as the tsunami begins to devastate the city. Their search for Blake becomes a race against time as floodwaters rise and debris fills the streets. Using a small boat, they navigate through the destroyed cityscape, calling out for their daughter. While chaos unfolds around them, Blake and the two brothers manage to survive the initial destruction but become trapped inside a submerged building as water rapidly fills the lower levels. The tension rises as they search for a way out before the water reaches them completely. Their struggle highlights the human side of the disaster, showing how ordinary people must rely on courage and cooperation when faced with impossible odds. Ray eventually finds the building where Blake is trapped. In one of the most emotional moments of the story, he dives into the flooded structure to rescue her. The underwater rescue scene is intense and dramatic, emphasizing the strength of a father willing to risk his life to save his child. The moment when Blake is finally brought back to the surface becomes one of the most powerful emotional payoffs in the film. After surviving the earthquake and tsunami, the remaining characters gather with other survivors in the ruins of the city. The destruction around them is enormous, with entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. Despite the devastation, the film ends on a note of resilience and hope. The survivors realize that although their world has been shaken apart, humanity's ability to rebuild and support one another remains strong. One of the defining elements of the movie is its spectacular visual effects. The film uses large-scale imagery to portray earthquakes, collapsing skyscrapers, breaking dams, and massive ocean waves. These scenes are designed to make audiences feel the overwhelming power of nature, creating a sense of awe as well as fear. The destruction is dramatic, but also serves as a reminder of how small human creations are compared to the forces of the earth. Another key strength of the story lies in its emotional core. While the disaster scenes are impressive, the film focuses heavily on the relationship between Ray, Emma, and Blake. Their journey is not only about surviving the earthquake, but also about reconnecting as a family. The disaster becomes the catalyst that forces them to confront their past and rediscover the bond they thought was broken. The scientific storyline involving Lawrence Hayes adds another layer to the narrative. His research represents humanity's constant effort to understand natural disasters and prevent tragedies in the future. Although the earthquake could not be stopped, the work of scientists like Hayes reminds viewers that knowledge and preparation are essential in facing the unpredictable forces of nature. Throughout the film, there is also a theme of courage in the face of overwhelming danger. Characters repeatedly make choices that put others before